Do any of you remember this Twitter exchange between Scump and David Vonderhaar? Scump: how does COD not get released with a ranked playlist every year? I'm just genuinely confused. It should be a staple, but it gets ignored. Interesting to think about. Vonderhaar: let me rewrite that for you. You can thank me later. I'm really looking thankful for all the hardworking men and women trying to give us a ranked playlist. My crew will deliver. We are on your side. Be good to us. Yeah, we eventually got a ranked playlist, but does anyone actually play it? What's the point in developing a feature if it's poorly done and no one uses it? Many people took Vonderhaar's final tweet, "My crew will deliver, we're on your side, be good to us," as his way of acknowledging that they sold us an incomplete game at a full price. But they were going to get it back on track. Hey, it was, and still is, a pandemic. We might not like it, but it's understandable that something like that really throws a wrench into things, and game development most likely was extremely hindered by it. But here comes David Vonderhaar in the wake of Cold War's release, telling the player base that things were going to get better. Spoiler alert, they never did. Just empty words from, in my opinion, a developer who lost his touch a long time ago. Remember this?
Using skill-based matchmaking, we put you with there so you're competing with people at your level. When you're playing with people at your level, the game is really fun. It's really fun for you because you will win half the time and lose half the time. And when you almost win, that's almost as much fun as winning, but completely getting decimated cannot be that much fun some of the time. And simply always decimating your opponent isn't much of a challenge. So competition's really built around this idea that I'm going to win or I'm going to almost win, and that's when you're having the most fun in the game. Those last minute come from behind victories feel really good as a player, and the purest competition side of the game gets exposed to you as a player in league play that way.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call mental gymnastics. Now, I know that some of you are probably thinking, it's not Vonderhaar or Treyarch's fault. Activision makes the rules and the devs can only operate in those boundaries. You're 100% correct, but that doesn't mean that the devs share none of the blame. Treyarch has been going downhill for over 10 years now. They had two massive titles in Black Ops and Black Ops 2, but they've failed to come remotely close to that success since. And instead of being innovative and giving us something new, they've just been leaning back on their greatest hits. How many Black Ops titles have a version of Nuketown? They've given us Raid at least 3 different times too. Look, I'm not opposed to occasionally bringing back some fan favorite content, but it just seems like Treyarch does it constantly instead of taking a risk and trying something new. The sad part is they don't even do it that well. Look at Cold War. It's a game with no soul or identity, and it's full of repurposed content. And no one wants to play it. Modern Warfare 2019 constantly has a higher view count on Twitch than Cold War, and that game is 2 years old. Treyarch probably was pressed for development time because of COVID, so they decided to give us a game with a lot of similar content to Black Ops 1 and 2, when they could have made it even easier on themselves and given us a 1-to-1 remake of Black Ops 1 that probably would have been more popular than Cold War. Does anybody disagree with that? If we would have gotten a Black Ops 1 remake, does anybody in their right mind actually think that at this point in its life cycle, 1 year later, that it would be less popular than Cold War is right now? And that really sums things up for David Vonderhaar. Instead of innovating, he's playing it safe and still doing a poor job at that. I think we as the Call of Duty community get hyper-focused on blaming Activision for everything wrong in the series, and they absolutely are responsible for many things bringing down COD, as well as their reported horrific work environment. But because Activision is so easy to hate, I think we forget that other people have their hand in this failure. Vonderhaar has been almost totally silent throughout Cold War's run. Some people thought Tony Flame would be the guy interacting with community, but that hasn't been the case. It just seems like Treyarch has a lack of leadership and management. It's time we stop and consider that maybe we're looking at Vonderhaar with rose-colored glasses. If we're going to credit him with past COD success, then we have to be consistent and acknowledge when he's failed. And lately, it's been a lot. Maybe I'm being too harsh on him, and maybe he still has a lot to bring to the table with development. I think at this point we can all agree that it's not in this current system. Sometimes the quarterback needs a new team and the team needs a new quarterback. One thing is for sure, a big change is needed. Lastly, I want us all to remember that David is a person. Parts of this video may have seemed harsh, but I'm just honestly criticizing the job he's doing from my very distant and limited view. It's nothing personal, just calling it as I see it. With that, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, a like and comment would be greatly appreciated. I'm planning on uploading Vanguard content, so if you would like more of my critique and thoughts on that game, consider subscribing. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.